My son, 6M, found his dog dead at their dad's, 36M, house. I'm 34F. Pretty furious, and I just want to make sure I'm not overreacting. My husband and I separated a couple years ago. He took our boy dog and I kept the girl in the split. I asked for the boy dog back on multiple occasions. He was kept in his crate far too often. Then his girlfriend kicked him outside when she got a cat. I wanted him to be home where he was loved. I was denied each time. Well, he died the other day. My son, 10 meters, called to tell me. Apparently my 6-year-old walked out to him dead with flies buzzing around him after their dad picked them up for his weekend. The girlfriend was home the whole time and he was just dead in the backyard. They claim he got into something and got sick, but died immediately? This was a previously healthy 3-year-old lab mix. The call: "Hi mommy, doggy got into something he shouldn't have. He got really sick, and then he went to heaven." My gut is suspecting foul play, and my heart aches for my 6-year-old who witnessed that and is now traumatized. I don't understand what happened or how, but I do have him home now, albeit a little too late. How do I bring up the conversation of what actually happened with our dog? If she did something to him, I definitely don't want my kids around her. Do you think he suspects her? He was grieving pretty heavily, so I doubt he was involved. Thanks. Update: my ex called me and woke me up before I headed into work. He claimed he was unable to take the kids to school tomorrow, and if I could. If not, his girlfriend will take them. As I don't trust her one iota, I told him I'll try my best to get off early to get them. I did ask for some clarification. I asked how the situation with our dog came to be. He said he'd already told me everything. I could hear the irritation and defensiveness in his voice. And that's also not true, as he didn't tell my 6Y. Oh, discovered him or that his girlfriend was home. I asked him how our son was able to find the dog. He said, "How am I supposed to stop him from running into the backyard?" Quote, "This is when I asked if his girlfriend was home. He avoided the question initially and stated vaguely, she had to go to work. But I repeated the question and he finally admitted that, yes, she was there. So I followed with, did she not have a chance to check on him? Quote, he said, she normally doesn't check on him. I was kind of dumbfounded at this point and didn't know what else to say. So I just ended the conversation. I think your concerns are valid, and it would 100% be right to bring up your concerns with your ex. It might plant a seed that needs to be planted. I'd say have a conversation with him that goes something like this. Name: I'm very concerned about our dog. Name: given he was previously a very healthy, very loved dog. I'm concerned about how his life ended. I'm concerned that someone poisoned him, especially given he showed no indications of illness leading up to his passing. If you suspect foul play, you could get a necropsy, pet autopsy to find out. Contact your vet. If 6 was traumatized, then it might help to do some consultation with a child psychologist. I would think his school has some grief resources. So I'd start there. That's the easy part. The hard part is that you need to meet your ex in a public place after he grieves for a few days. With zero emotion. You tell him that you are going to say your piece. Then leave because you just want him to think about what you are saying. An argument is that last thing you want to do with him. You realize things haven't been great between the two of you always. You also know in his heart that he cared deeply for that dog as well as your children. Then you point out only facts about what you've witnessed with the dog. Don't accuse him of anything. And that you suspect girlfriend was neglecting the dog. You then thank him for listening. And take your leave. They just left his body in the yard? Who does that? I am so very sorry. And so sorry your little one discovered him that way. His dad didn't even think that maybe that would be extremely upsetting for his kids and perhaps he should talk to them and bury their pup? I am so appalled and confused. I'll echo others and say yes. A hard conversation is needed. You'll likely never know what happened to the dog. In this case, it could very well be neglect rather than poisoning. The dog could have gotten sick, but due to the fact that he lives outside and was not treated as part of the family either led to his illness not be discovered or ignored. He could have ingested poison by mistake as well. Snail poison is extremely deadly to dogs and they love to eat it. He could have gotten distemper or Lyme or many other things. He could have had an undiagnosed condition. The point of the matter here is that the dog got sick and was neglected to death. I'm not trying to invalidate your concerns, but these are the more likely scenarios, all things considered. It doesn't make it any easier, but just know that when pets die unexpectedly, people oftentimes want to think the animal was poisoned, and those necropsies rarely find evidence of that. It's usually disease and/or neglect. Was the dog emaciated? You said he was covered in flies? Did he have signs of GI upset? Vomit? Diarrhea on his behind? You have the deceased dog? Did I read that right? Take it for an autopsy. I am sorry. Maybe call an animal rights organization? 3-year-old. They definitely killed that poor baby. Whether directly or out of neglect. I'm so sorry. Sounds like questions you need to take to your custody lawyer. It could have been neglect, but it might be hard to prove. But also, dogs absolutely can get into something and pass quickly, or have a previously unknown health problem and pass quickly. Our last dog was perfectly healthy until the day she died. We had no idea. It happened really fast. Our current dog ate a bowl of grapes, which can be incredibly toxic for dogs, and some can die from that. I don't know where you go from here, but there are certainly ways dogs die quickly aside from poisoning. So the dog died, and they knew he was sick and didn't take him to the vet or pick up his corpse, which has been laying in the yard for so long that there were flies. Even if the cause of death wasn't intentional, that level of neglect certainly was. Not overreacting. If this is how he treats his pets, I don't think he would treat his kids any better. That home is dangerous. You need to protect your son and change the custody order. They killed your dog and left his body outside to rot. These people are dangerous and your son is not safe in their care. Also, the fact that your kids found their dog dead is traumatizing enough, and I'd mention it to your custody lawyer if you have one. The kids should never have had the chance to find their dog like that. The dog was dead long enough to have flies buzzing around. That means the dog was dead for a while. Several hours to a day at least. Neglect at the least, foul play at the worst. Was this dog regularly fed and given fresh water? Dogs that are routinely fed sometimes will try to eat anything else they can get their mouths on, but wouldn't be desperate to do so. While it might be suspicious, and it does sound like the dog was neglected, sudden poisoning deaths due to a pet eating something random in the wild, outside, do happen. And they can happen quickly. One of my parents' dogs ate part of a plant outside, we think, and was dead within minutes. And we never even knew there was something poisonous in the yard. Just my observation from reading OP's responses and fellow Redditors' comments. S is like he was put outside and just forgotten. If the girlfriend was home and didn't notice the dog laying in the same spot, that means nobody fed or watered him that morning. Which kind of leads me to think, how many days did he go without water and food? That would be what I would logically come to. But then again, I could be way off. Offer to take care of the ashes and cost, then take the dog for an autopsy. That's the only way to know. Frankly, I'd be fearful of both of them. Your ex was wildly petty and kept a dog in what sounds like awful conditions in a house he was unwanted in simply because he didn't want to give the dog to you. I would mention that you are extremely upset that the dog was kept outside all the time due to his GF getting a cat etc., and that the dog's death was unnecessary since you offered to give the dog a loving home. It was his choice to put the GF first at the expense of the safety of the animal, and you wonder if this decision-making will also apply to your children in this relationship. The fact that the dog had been clearly left there a long time if it had flies on its dead body and the girlfriend who was home didn't notice or care is unacceptable, and he's very lucky if you don't file an animal abuse complaint. It sounds like someone poisoned the dog, or they kept him crated all the time and didn't take care of him. How can those people be trusted with kids? My son wouldn't be going to their home anymore. They can't even care for an unwanted dog that they had multiple chances to give back. Almost like they wanted something you loved to suffer. The GF got a new cat and left the dog for dead. I could only imagine if the GF had a new baby or found a new hobby, your kid would be next on the low priority list. Your ex is just as bad. He let it happen like it's no big deal. That may be extreme, but I 100% would not trust my child in their care. They'll let an innocent living creature that needs care die on purpose. Ex is going to cover for his bedwarmer. That is more important than the pain his little boy suffered from finding his dog dead in the backyard. Sooner or later, it will come back to bite him in the $1 though. Kids don't forget such trauma. If you can, maybe get a background check on bedwarmer. She may have a history of sick behaviors. And if she does, you can use it in court to keep her away from your kids.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.